Greetings, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Matthew. And in this training video, we're going to be talking about a very famous and very popular style of beer, the Marzen or Oktoberfest beer. Now, this is a traditionally a German style of beer. The celebration of Oktoberfest actually takes place in late September. It originally was held...
Whoa. Not October?
I know. It's called Oktoberfest as it brings in October, but it's actually celebrated in the end of September. It was originally done as a wedding celebration, and then they presumably just had such a great time that they carried on the tradition every year.
All right, I'll need some time to adjust, but go on.
The style is called Marzen, M-A-R-Z-E-N, which is actually the German word for March. Traditionally, these beers were started in March, the brewing process started, and because they're lager beers, they were actually lagered all summer long until the fall came, and they were consumed for Oktoberfest. Now, there's a pretty wide range of Oktoberfest between the colors and some of the flavors as well. But they're always going to be lagers, so they're always going to be nice and rounded, and they can range in color from kind of a deep golden all the way to kind of a medium amber color.
Yeah, the amber color is most indicative of American styles of Oktoberfest. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this that we have today is actually a German Oktoberfest. This is the Marzen-style. They're probably most well known by being the oldest continuously operating brewery in the world from 1040 AD, and they're also very, very well known for their excellent range of Weiss beers, of their wheat beers. Really, really top-notch wheat beers. Now, if you were to go to Oktoberfest in Germany, which someday I would love to, are you listening, Marzen-style? I guess we wouldn't pander to them because they're not an official Oktoberfest beer. In order to be an official Oktoberfest beer, the brewery has to be situated within the city limits of Munich, where Oktoberfest takes place. They're not, they're outside of Munich, but they want to get in on the party anyway, and they make a great beer.
Sure do. Let's check it out.
All right, now it's 5.8%, which I think might be the highest Oktoberfest that I can think of right now.
Certainly non-American. I think there's a couple American versions of it. That come in above 6%, but generally speaking, this is still a little bit high. Usually they're in the high 4 to low 5 range.
Yeah. Now, my very first exposure to any kind of Oktoberfest beer, the first time I heard of an Oktoberfest beer was from Sam Adams Oktoberfest. And I can't help but notice that this looks a lot different than that Sam Adams Oktoberfest does.
Sure does. It looks a lot lighter. And you'll notice we're pouring this into pints. When we carry Oktoberfests on draft, if it's a German brewed Oktoberfest, we're going to pour them into our 16.9 ounce or half-liter German style mugs. But it's absolutely stylistically appropriate to pour it into either. That's simply the choice that we as a brand do for our draft beers. Now, if it's an American style, we're going to pour it into a pint, or an American brewed German style Oktoberfest, so we're going to pour it into a pint. Since we're pouring out of a bottle, it's really kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other as far as serving vessel goes. Let's take a look at this one.
Definitely very polished, sterile filtration. And I believe that most of we were talking about the difference in color between this and like the Sam Adams Oktoberfest that I'm sure most people are familiar with when they think of Oktoberfest. And in Germany, they changed it to this a little bit of a lighter body around the 1970s when the Oktoberfest celebration was really starting to kick off, and they wanted the beers to be a little bit more on the sessionable side. So that's when it really kind of switched over, which is why both types of colors and that wide range of color is acceptable.
Sure. It's a very good looking beer. I mean, you got this really clear golden color. It looks, again, like a standard beer does. But I suspect we're going to get a little bit more character out of it than we would a typical pale lager.
All right. Wow, really biscuity, bready.
Yeah, little notes of toast. There's definitely some earthy, noble hop to it on the back end.
It's a very robust smell. It smells like a tough beer, if that makes sense. Like a very hearty beer.
Sure, absolutely. Something that you'd want to clink together and cheers.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
yeah, some mineralistic quality in the nose as well. Yeah, exactly what you would think.
Bready, there's some cereal grain to it, slight toasted qualities. Definitely has a hop balance to it. It's definitely not hop forward, but there is a very, very prevalent sense of balance in this brew. finish is very clean as well.
Yeah, I think that's most Oktoberfest really want to finish clean because when you're served at Oktoberfest, they use those giant, are they 2 liters? A liter, 2 liters?
I mean,
I don't know, but those women have some
2 liters
some
if you're
muscles.
a real man, you know.
Yeah, well, Germans.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Now, this beer's got a lot of character to it. Packaged in a relatively light and sessionable body, but really nice melange of aromas and flavors that really complement each other and lead you to want to have another drink.
Yeah. I could see this being a football game day beer as
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Now, we'll probably have these several different Oktoberfests on while it's in the season. Funny enough, there's actually several German brewers that produce Oktoberfest year-round now, whereas most of the American craft brewers tend to stay to the traditional seasonal release of them.
Although, like we're doing with pumpkins now, the season seems to be getting earlier and earlier and earlier.
Sure, absolutely. These are great beers to recommend for guests that enjoy lagers, that enjoy sitting down and having a good session, meaning drinking 3 or 4 beers at a time. They're not overpowering. They're great kind of background beers where they're not necessarily going to take your focus away from either conversation or, as Aaron mentioned, maybe a football game or an event that you may be doing at your brass tap.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Pilsner beer with a little bit less of a hot bite, but it's got good flavor if you feel like paying attention to the flavor at that point, or if you don't feel like paying attention to the flavor, the beer isn't going to make you pay attention to it.
Sure, and it's always going to be refreshing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All
Cheers,
right.
mate.
Cheers.